What if some of the foods you eat every day are slowly damaging your liver? Most people think liver problems come from extreme causes. Alcohol, serious illness, something obvious. But the truth is much more subtle. Liver damage often develops slowly, through everyday habits, through small repeated choices especially, through food, because what you eat every day directly affects how your liver works. And some foods don't just stress the liver, they overload it. Over time, without obvious symptoms. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because you may feel completely fine, while your liver is working harder and harder. Today, we're going to talk about 7 foods that may damage your liver when consumed regularly. These are common foods, things many people eat every day, and one of them is something most people believe is completely harmless. Let's begin. The first food is sugary drinks. This includes soda, sweetened juices, energy drinks. These drinks are high in sugar, especially fructose. When consumed in large amounts, fructose is processed by the liver. Unlike glucose, which can be used by many cells in the body, fructose is primarily handled by the liver, and when intake is high, the liver converts excess sugar into fat. Over time, this can lead to fat accumulation in the liver, which is associated with fatty liver. The problem is, liquid sugar is easy to consume. It doesn't make you feel full, so people often drink more than they realize. The second food is processed foods, such as packaged snacks, fast food, processed meats. These foods often contain unhealthy fats, refined carbohydrates, additives. They are designed for convenience, but not for long-term health. These foods can contribute to inflammation and metabolic stress, both of which affect liver function. Over time, frequent consumption can place a continuous burden on the liver. The third food is something many people don't expect. Excess sugar in general, not just drinks, but desserts, sweets, pastries, hidden sugars in packaged foods. When sugar intake is consistently high, the liver must process that excess. And just like with sugary drinks, it converts it into fat. This fat can accumulate in the liver and affect its function. The fourth food is refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, white rice, pastries. These foods are quickly broken down into glucose, which causes rapid spikes in blood sugar, and repeated spikes can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is closely linked to liver fat accumulation, which can stress the liver over time. The fifth food is fried foods, foods that are deep fried, high in unhealthy fats, heavily processed. These foods are difficult for the body to process. They are often high in trans fats or oxidized oils, which can increase inflammation. And inflammation plays a role in liver stress. Regular consumption of fried foods can contribute to long-term liver strain. The sixth food is something people often underestimate: excess salt. High sodium intake can lead to fluid imbalance and may affect liver function indirectly. Processed foods are often high in sodium, which adds to the burden. While salt itself is necessary, excess intake over time can contribute to metabolic stress. At this point, something important becomes clear. These foods are not rare, they are common, everyday, easy to consume. And that's exactly why they matter. Let's continue. The seventh and final food is something many people consume regularly and rarely question: processed vegetable oils. These include oils that are heavily refined and used in fast food, fried foods, packaged snacks. When oils are processed at high temperatures, their structure can change, and repeated heating can make them even more unstable. These altered fats can contribute to inflammation in the body, and inflammation plays a role in liver stress. Over time, this creates an environment where the liver has to work harder to process and manage these compounds. Now, when you look at all of these foods together, a pattern begins to appear. Sugary drinks, processed foods, excess sugar, refined carbohydrates, fried foods, too much salt, processed oils. Each one on its own may not seem like a major problem, but together, they create pressure. Here's what's really happening inside the body. The liver is responsible for processing everything you consume, every nutrient, every compound, every substance. When intake is balanced, the liver handles it efficiently, quietly, without strain. But when the intake becomes excessive, especially in sugar, unhealthy fats, and processed ingredients, the liver begins to work harder. First, the body adapts, it compensates, it manages the load. But over time, that load builds up. Fat begins to accumulate. Inflammation increases. Metabolic processes become less efficient. And this is where problems begin, not suddenly, but gradually. Now here's something very important. Liver damage rarely feels immediate. It doesn't create sharp pain. It doesn't stop your daily routine. Instead, it develops silently, while you continue your normal habits, while everything feels fine. And that's exactly why awareness matters. Because if you don't recognize what's happening, nothing changes. Now think about this. What if it's not one food, but the combination? A sugary drink here, a processed snack there, fast food occasionally, refined carbs daily. Each one adds a small amount of stress, but over time, those small amounts add up. Now imagine the opposite. Small changes, reducing excess sugar, choosing less processed foods, balancing meals, making simple adjustments. Over time, the load on the liver decreases, inflammation reduces, metabolic balance improves, and the liver can function more efficiently. And this is not about perfection, it's about patterns, because your daily habits matter more than occasional choices. Now here's something to remember. Your liver is incredibly resilient. It can adapt, it can recover, but only if the stress is reduced. And the first step is awareness, understanding what may be contributing to that stress. Now let's make this simple. Ask yourself, do I consume sugary drinks regularly? Do I eat processed or fast food often? Is my diet high in sugar or refined carbs? Do I eat fried foods frequently? Do I rely on packaged snacks? If several of these are true, it may be time to look closer at your habits. Now let's be clear. Not every food is harmful on its own, but patterns matter. Frequency matters. Consistency matters. Your liver processes everything you consume, every day, without rest, without pause. And over time, your choices shape how that system functions. Yadi sir, if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. It's not one meal that affects your health. It's what you do consistently. Your body is always responding to what you eat, to how you live, to the habits you repeat. The question is, are those habits supporting your body or putting it under pressure? If you found this video helpful, stay with our channel. We break down important health topics into simple, clear explanations so you can better understand what your body may be trying to tell you. And in the next video, we'll talk about something just as important: the early signs of fatty liver disease that most people ignore. Make sure to stay with us so you don't miss it.